Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Buenos dias. It's me, Lauren Cadillac, aka OG Cadillac, aka Mother of the Decade. Welcome, you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you to my 3 loyal viewers. I appreciate you so much. I have a big day planned for us, okay? One thing though, the machine will never do right by me, so I can't hear right now. So I don't have my headphones in. So I'm not going to be able to listen to any of the footage I show you with you, but I'm going to show you some footage. All right, big day today. First, I want to talk Young Thug's civil forfeiture hearing. Then I want to talk Young Dolph's Mastermind murder. Then I would like to go over some comments that I have received recently. So, all right. First, Brian Steele, our boy, was back in the courtroom. I think this was on Monday. Pretty sure this was Monday. It was either Monday or Tuesday. I don't remember. This week's been a blur. So, in the state of Georgia, I can play this for you, but I don't know how loud it is. Oh, and the sound. Actually, no, I'm not even going to play it for you because the sound was terrible. We were listening to it, and sometimes we could hear Brian, sometimes we couldn't, so on and so forth. Anyhow, long story short, in the state of Georgia, the onus, the responsibility for setting the civil procedure hearing, trial or hearing or whatever they might call it, is on the state in the prosecution, and they have 90 days. All right. So there was basically what we would call an abatement or stay on the civil forfeiture until the last of the YSL group was finally adjudicated. All right. The last of the YSL group was finally adjudicated in April, early April. At that time, as you recall, Brian was working in New York with Diddy. So he said to the court, hey, whenever you set this hearing, I cannot be here on this day or this day, but I can be available on I think he said the 5th and the 2nd of May. But then otherwise I have this trial. Hey, Tall Glass, welcome. Good morning. Okay, so we're talking about, I don't know if you've been here all this whole time, the Brian Steele performance today, or this week, and the civil forfeiture. Okay, so Brian said to the court, I'm only available on these days, and the government said, oh, well, we can't do that day. And then that was it. So come August, 18th or whatever day Monday was, the government has their hearing. Steele's response is, hey, we're outside of the 60 days. It had to have been heard within 60 days of the abatement. And then the government's like, but he said he wasn't available. He said, cool story. When I said I wasn't available, you had a job to do and you didn't do it. Thank you, Tall Glass. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, the government, the DA's office, Fulton County, had a job to do when Brian said he couldn't be there and they couldn't be there on the same day. Knowing he said in his motion, I have another trial in another state. So they know he's going to at least a month-long trial in another state. The government has the onus to then file a motion for continuance and say, hey, there's good cause. The defense is, here's his motion where he says he's out of state. Please continue this. That is all they had to do. They didn't even have to have that damn motion heard. They just needed to file the thing and have a file stamp. And they couldn't do that. Hey, Brownie, welcome. Thank you. I got these earrings in Ecuador at a hat making museum. So these are some of the straw fibers they make hats with. It just happened to match my shirt. I also got this little sweater in, I think Chile. I think I got this in Chile. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right. So back to Fulton County, who completely incapable of doing their job, does not file the motion to continue, does not preserve their rights against this property. And Judge Whitaker makes the correct ruling, which is tough shit, state. It says, these are the rules, right? So black and white, plain English. You got to do this within 60 days or have a motion that's, for good cause. Which they had good cause. Tall glass, as I understand it, the DA's office in Fulton County is temp employees. They have turnover like crazy. People coming in and out, in and out. Nobody wants to work there. So their turnover is so bad that little shit like this gets missed. But see, this is why I love the law. This is why I became a lawyer. Because the government needs to do their damn job. And if they're going to take our rights or our property from us, they need to do it right. Okay, so that's our Young Thug recap. Everything is going back to him except the stolen watch. Oh, appeals take forever, Tall Glass. I have no idea how long it would take, but I would imagine 6 months at least. Maybe a year. Who knows? Maybe 2. I don't know. All right. So Doug's going to get everything but the watch back. We know he can't get the watch back because we saw the detective on the stand wearing the watch. Or no, was he just a regular beat cop? I don't remember. We know the police stole it. It ain't coming back. The rest, though, is going back to him. So good. And excellent work, Brian. Brian needs to teach a damn master class, okay? He is a phenomenal attorney. Y'all know how I feel about him. Okay. So, let's move from Fulton County over to Memphis, Tennessee. Tall Glass, yeah, they should be returned to him. There's nothing instant when it's involved the government. I'm assuming there's like a checkout process and blah, blah, blah. But yes, it should be returned to him relatively quickly. As quickly as our government can move. All right, so I want to move to Memphis, Tennessee. Not me physically, but our next topic. First, there is a city in Ecuador called Guayaquil, but a lot of people call it Guayaquil because it's a very high crime rate. All right. In January, they had some gang come over and literally take over a live news broadcast and then kill people on air. At first I was like, oh, that's cool, they took over the news, but then I found out so I was like, oh, that's no good, we don't like that. Okay. So Guayaquil, as it's fondly called, I went this morning and compared its crime rate to that of Memphis, Tennessee, and guess whose crime rate is higher? Guess. I want you guys to guess. Just tell me who you think crime rate is higher. I'll wait. Do you think it's Guayaquil, Ecuador, or do you think it's Memphis, Tennessee, right here in the good old United States of America? I'll wait. What do you think, Tall Glass? I'm waiting. What do you think it is? Tell me. What do you think it is? Do you think it's Guayaquil, or do you think it's Memphis, Tennessee? Okay, you're right. Yeah, you're right. It's Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, Tennessee. all this crap they tell you about how our country's so safe compared to other countries, lies. Lies. Complete lies. Okay. So let's go to Memphis. I'm first going to give you a hypothetical scenario. All right? Let's say that you are Mr. or Mrs. Smith. You're part of a couple, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and you have a 22-year-old daughter named Baby Smith. Okay? Now, Baby Smith grew up with her best friend. You know her best friend quite well. You've been knowing her. You practically helped raise her too. Baby Smith then calls you, Mr. or Mrs. Smith, Baby Smith's best friend calls you, Mr. or Mrs. Smith, and says, hey, I have it on good authority that Baby Smith's boyfriend has been, okay. Thank you for letting us know. Hang up. Now you, Mr. or Mrs. Smith, go to your spouse, the other Smith, and for the next, let's say 14 days, you talk about, how are we going to resolve this issue with this young man who thinks he can lay hands on our baby? And then you decide to take things into your own hand. Now, I'm not by any means saying that this is appropriate behavior. I'm just using this as a hypothetical, okay? So you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, receive the information from Baby Smith's best friend, and 2 weeks later, you go take out the little boy who laid hands on your daughter. Not good. You and Mrs. Smith are going to be spending the rest of your marriage in jail. Fine. Now, what if the government then pressed charges about your daughter, Baby Smith's best friend, who called you? And they pressed charges calling her the mastermind behind the demise of the boyfriend, calling it a RICO plot, calling it a conspiracy. Now, does anyone who's watching think that that is acceptable? That the government could prosecute someone for relaying information 2 weeks prior to that person and someone else doing something harmful based on said information? Anyone? Would we want to put Baby Smith's friend in jail because Mr. and Mrs. Smith took the law into their own hands? Would that be something we would want to do as the American public? Is that what we want to do? I don't think so. But that's exactly what the government did here with this young Dolph mastermind, Hernandez Govin. Hernandez Govin talks to someone on the phone or via text, I don't know, says to them, there is money on Dolph's head and it's good. And then they move on with their lives. They continue to gossip. They continue to talk about other things going on in the neighborhood. And then 2 weeks later, the person that Hernandez said this to goes with someone else, and they take the life of young Dolph, hoping to get the said bounty that allegedly exists per Hernandez. And the government charged him as a mastermind. Since when is gossip RICO? When did gossip become masterminding and colluding? Because, in my neighborhood, if I'm talking with people from my neighborhood and I had known there's some bounty on someone, I'm a gossip. I'd be like, oh, did you hear this? Oh, yeah, and I heard the money's good, too. Where's the crime? Where's that? 2 weeks later, they went after Dolph. And this dude didn't even go with them. He had nothing to do with it. He just freaking relayed the information. This is one of the shortest trials I've ever witnessed. And, of course, the jury did the right thing. And he was found to be acquitted. Not guilty. Are we really trying to make gossip illegal out here? So I'm watching at first and I'm like, oh, this is the guy who came up with the plot and did it. None of those facts ever came. No. Thank you, Memphis Most Wanted. Mac, I really love St. Louis. I went to St. Louis once and I went to the zoo and all the animals were fighting and I thought it was hilarious. And so I only have good feelings about St. Louis. So I'm watching this 2-day trial, day and a half trial. Defense puts on no defense, just some old lady who's a neighbor of this dude who is like, nah, he helps me with like groceries and shit. Because gossip isn't illegal. When I actually sat and took the time to understand what this government was. But this is Trump's America, so, you know, it's no surprise. Nothing surprises me in Trump's America anymore. You know, in the state of Texas, the reps were unlawfully detained so that they could sit and watch the other reps break the law. Isn't that cute? That's where we live now. I don't even understand why the government brought charges against this man. It kind of reminds me of the A$AP Rocky trial. Like, it's expensive to prosecute people, okay? It's not cheap to prosecute people. So I want to know why our money is being spent on these cases that can't be proved beyond a reasonable doubt. Brownie, I heard that it was 100K too. I did not hear any information that Govan was going to get anything. I just heard that Govan was gossiping. That's all the evidence I witnessed. That's it. If he was part of it in that manner, the state did a terrible job of pointing that out. Terrible. Terrible. You guys want to see with your eyes how I know AI is not taking over the courtroom? Look at this. Look at this courtroom. In 1973, when they put this green carpet on this with this, oh, everyone was like, this is sick. This is a nice courtroom. Oh my God, this is beautiful. Look at the money we spent as taxpayers. Wow, it was really worth it. Now here we are 50 years later, and it's vomit green. Yeah, because we don't spend money on stuff like this. Except to prosecute people for gossiping. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe there was more to it, and the government just completely failed. That would not be a surprise to me. That sure as shit wouldn't be a first time, would it? No, it wouldn't. I don't know who Durkio is, chairman. Govan's lawyer was the same lawyer that repped Durkio. I don't know who that is in the Atlanta case. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. Okay, so do you guys remember Donna Adelson? I talked about her a little. She's like the older gal from Florida who was arrested trying to board a plane to Vietnam, which doesn't have extradition. You guys remember her? She's from Florida. Hold on. Okay, here we go. This lady. We talked about her briefly. Morning, Nene. Hello. Hello, hello. Okay, so I watched part of... So they are finding jurors right now for her. Okay. I'm sorry. No. Today, in this
From what I told
they're
her,
doing opening statements. Okay. They just finally sat the jurors yesterday afternoon. All right, I guess because of that, in my YouTube feed popped up this beautiful cross-examination. So let me give you background. Donna has 3 kids, but she only loves 2 of them. She loves Charlie and she loves Wendy. She works for Charlie as his bookkeeper. Okay, she is definitely the matriarch. I don't know why she doesn't love her oldest child, but testimony comes out that she didn't really care for him. So, okay. Wendy is a lawyer, and she's married to a Florida State University law professor, and they have 2 young kids. They decide to divorce, and Wendy wants to move to Miami so she can be closer to her mom and brother and dad. Okay, so Wendy's ex-husband basically gets that barred. There's no chance she's going to be able to leave Tallahassee and take the kids. So Donna and Charlie Adelson, Donna's like, well, if he wasn't here, and Charlie was dating this girl whose morality is questionable. And so apparently he used the girl he's dating to find him some people to take care of the brother-in-law. And so then the brother-in-law is shot twice in the head, but he lives for 14 hours. So they didn't even do it good. It's kind of like the Mo 3. We talked about this. If you're spending big money, I don't know. I feel like you should get some kind of James Bond, Born Identity level service in these things. I would never do that. I do not believe in taking the lives of others, as I have brought life into this world. So it is contrary to what I've done to take it. So I would never do that. I sure as hell wouldn't pay anyone to do it either. But if I did and I spent that kind of money, I want pristine service. Do you understand? Well, Charlie's a talker, and so he gets caught on video talking to the woman and blah, blah, blah. And basically, he gets crushed in this cross-examination. He's like an oral surgeon. He's very, very sure of himself. And he gets killed. And she uses his own recording. So I just want to play this little piece. Now, mind you, I can't hear, but I watched this yesterday. So hopefully you can hear it. All right, so she's doing the cross.
Time you met at this Dolce Vita restaurant.
I think it had been released at that time.
All right, and you heard.
Notice his blink rate. See how much he's blinking?
The recording. You're arguing. Let's play the clip. This is going to be clip. I think let's play 7 and 8, please. Dolce.
Okay, so now we're going to film a little video. Hold on. Sorry, I think he's talking. This is good.
Because the fact is, even if, let's say,
also, dude has no chin. If I was an oral surgeon and I had a chin like this, I would go get my chin fixed, but whatever.
And then I go ahead and I do and then I go, when you're dating in the car, I go, yeah,
So he's listening
my
to
car,
himself talk. Look
got out,
at the
she
blink
did
rate.
this horrible crime. Okay, they come and they get the DNA in the car, they go, yep, Katie was in the car. No, Katie sat in the car for 2 minutes, got out of the AC, and then got out of the car. Katie has nothing to
Do you see that? It's almost like he's wincing at his words.
do with you guys broken me.
But I think also he blinks when he thinks. And so I think as he's listening to this, he's trying to figure out what he's going to say in response. Yes, Memphis Most Wanted. I am following the Mo 3 case. I am in Dallas. So when they go to actual trial, I will be there physically. And we'll have a meet and greet here in Dallas. All right, so
Outside of that,
here we go. So this is where he's blah, 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 blah.
you have a
There have to be fingerprints. Yada. Some of the big stuff.
renting in that car.
You can't tell, but this is the girlfriend who
But you have to prove that they were also driving that day and rented it and lent it to a friend. What if you rented a car and I go, Katie, can I borrow it for the weekend? I'll bring it back on Tuesday. You go, yeah, sure. So you rented the car. You've been in that car. I drive into fucking Orlando. I rob McDonald's in Orlando. I come sick.
Okay, so blah, blah, blah. Okay, now check this out.
Listen, please.
Watch this guy's face. I can't hear anything, so.
Answer the question.
Okay.
I
Please
can
allow,
just ask you a yes or no question.
please allow me
and
to
you're-
answer your question.
Okay.
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Help yourself out.
What I was saying to Katie is that the information she had just told me in the car about Sigfredo not being there when the crime was committed, she told me that Sigfredo was high on drugs at the hotel and that Luis had rented a car and that he's the one who killed Dan. And I'm restating to her that I don't have any knowledge of what went on, and that all I know is.
Okay. So his girlfriend's baby daddy is the Sigfredo or whatever his name is. Okay, that's his girlfriend's baby daddy. So it just so happens that your girlfriend's baby daddy ends the life of your sister's baby daddy, and that's just like some freak coincidence. He claims that he was being extorted by these people, and that he thought that the girlfriend was helping him stay safe, and he thought that extortionists ended his sister's ex-husband's life to scare him. But he also testified that he didn't even go to the funeral because he didn't give a shit about her ex-husband. So I'm just like, this is why we don't put defendants on the stand, y'all. Do not be putting defendants on the stand. If any of you decide to go forth to law school and become attorneys, do not put your defendants on the stand. One exception. That is when your defendant has done something as a result of like gross behavior from the victim. There's this very interesting documentary on, I think it's on Peacock, about women who cut off men's members. And it talks about Lorena Bobbitt, if you remember her from the 90s. And then it follows this woman who recently did it to her father. Now, she got up as a defendant and sat on the witness stand and explained why she did that. And the fact was, her father had been her since she was 3. And when she was 17, she finally escaped her father. So for 14 years, she finally escapes him, and a few years later walks into her sister's house to see her 5-year-old niece on his lap. And she is just fully triggered. And she is like, I'm cutting that thing off, and I'm preventing him from doing to any other little girl what he did to me. That was a good person to put on the stand. That was appropriate. That was appropriate. Because no jury is going to be like, oh yeah, go to jail. No, the jury's like, good job. She did go to jail because, technically she broke the law. But it was a very light sentence. And in my opinion, if I was a juror, like, yeah, you technically broke the law, but I'm giving you a week because thank you. His own daughter at 3, y'all, is so disgusting. So disgusting. Okay. So now we're watching Donna Adelson. I'll have an update about it next week. I'm going to go finish watching the openings when we finish here, which will be soon because the next thing I want to do is read you some comments. So, as you know, I talked about Melly last week. I don't know if you know this, but we made a short out of it. It's got a lot of comments, and I'm going to start with my favorite, okay? Right here, OG Donuts says, the 40-year-old with braces says she's going to do something about the court system. In exactly 29 days, not even a whole month anymore, it was a month from yesterday, I will be 44 years old. So the fact that this person thinks I'm 40 is a huge compliment, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, OG Donuts. I have been seeing myself on the big screen, like the 65-inch screen, since I've gone on to YouTube. And I did not like the way my 2 front teeth looked. I've had a car accident. This is my 3rd time having braces. But I'm actually quite proud that I could afford to buy myself braces and take care of myself in this manner. So thank you for thinking I'm 40 and noticing that I have braces. Now, what am I going to do about the court system? I don't know. I work in it every day. How about that? There is a thing, hold on. There's this thing called an amicus brief. Right here. Amicus curiae. That is called a friend of the court brief, or the English version of amicus curiae means friend of the court. A friend of the court brief is a brief submitted by a third party that is not part of that litigation, whether it be prosecution or civil, but has an interest in some aspect of it. Okay? Now, I have an interest in the Constitution. You should have an interest in the Constitution. And to have someone in jail for 7 years while innocent, while not having been proven guilty, violates that Constitution. So I can intervene by writing an amicus brief. So there were a lot of comments about how are you going to intervene? Well, the thing is, when I passed the state bar and I was issued my bar card, a license to practice law, that gave me access to do things like submit to courts amicus briefs and to share my opinion and my stance on a subject with a court in an effort to help them make a better decision. I'm sorry to those folks who have not done that. Don't know what to say. There's still time to go to law school, guys. As long as you're breathing, you can go to law school. But I did that when I was in my 20s. So and as Melly's trial is delayed pending the appeals court review. So I just want all of you to know that. I just want to address those types of comments. Also, there's a lot of folks who are saying, oh, it doesn't matter, he's guilty. Well, that's not true. That's not true. Every single human being that is present and standing on the dirt, la tierra, of the United States has to be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So when you say those things, you really show your ignorance. You really do. Oh, someone said he's not a child. As I stated, in less than a month, I will be 44. So in my mind, to me, everyone who's under 37 is in fact a child. Sorry. When you're in your 40s, you can call everyone children too. I would expect my 70-something-year-old friends to look at me as a child. They got 30 years on me. They know a lot more about life than I do. Okay? So, that was it. Those were the comments. I just was like last week, my roots were showing in my video. I have since resolved that problem. But what I did is I made the mistake of looking at them and then asking my child if she thought they were gray. And then she was like, yes. And then she took a picture and then I thought they were gray. And I literally had like a mini crisis because I don't want to die. And my daughter was like, I started crying. She goes, why are you crying? And I'm like, I don't want to die. Not that gray hair means death. It doesn't. It's just that I, in my mind, was not going to go fully gray until my 60s. And so, I had that planned for at least 16 years from now. But then I realized, oh my God, I'm going to be in my 60s in 16 years. It was over, guys. It was over. Holy crap. How am I 44? What happened? What? like 10, 44-year-olds were hella old. And now I have braces and I'm 44. Not quite 44, but I will be next month. Oh, Lord, I can't. I cannot. I know, Taisha. I don't know if this has happened to any of y'all, but like after I turned 37, I like realized I was human, and like, oh my God, there's an expiration date on this container, you know? Oh my God, no. And then I like, I had just come back from this trip with a 26-year-old. Belinda's 26. And we were up here climbing mountains and doing all these 26-year-old things, and going here and climbing this mountain, taking this boat. And then a week later, it's like, oh no, you're 44. Oh my God, what? I'm 44. Oh my God. I got a month. Okay. I am glad that life goes on. I'm happy to be in my 40s. Don't get me wrong. Life is so much better on this side of 40. Okay. I just didn't, I don't know. Like, it doesn't dawn upon me most of the time. It's kind of like my tattoos, like I don't really realize they're there. And then every so often someone will like point one out or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, I do have a tattoo. Oh yeah, I forgot. I have a tattoo. Like I have this tattoo, a half tattoo of my daughter. It's like a half of a half. I never think about it. And someone's like, oh, who is that? And I'm like, oh yeah, shit, I forgot that was there. That's how I feel about my age, it just kind of surprises me out of the middle of nowhere sometimes. Oh no, another CG. I cannot bicycle. When I had my car accident, I broke my pelvic ring, so I can't sit on a bike seat, and I can't be that high off the ground like that. I love it. Hi, Tamika. Welcome. My son is turning 21, so like, he can't be 26 and have a 21-year-old son, right? So like it does make sense that I'm 44, I guess, almost. But he's turning 21. We're going to Vegas in December for his birthday. So that will be fun. And I will be keeping up with that 21-year-old tall glass. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. It's just weird. The other thing is, for women in particular, in your 40s is when you see like high rates of like breast cancer and those kind of things like popping up, and they're like a lot less common in your 20s and 30s, so like now your friends are getting sick or this or that, and it's like, oh, I don't want that to happen. Oh, Brownie, that's beautiful. I am grateful to see these kids grow up. I'm grateful to grow up, honestly. Like, I'm very grateful to continue growing up every day and to have the opportunity to do so. Just every so often someone reminds me, and I'm like, oh, shit. I'm not as young as I feel, or whatever it may be. Then I'm like, oh God, I have so much to do. I have so much left to do. Fuck. And I don't want to get sick, guys. I do not want to get sick. I don't have the time or patience for illness. So. Okay. That's all I have to say today. My birthday's September 21st. Keep that in mind, y'all. And I'll be the big 4-4, which I'm excited about. Thank you for the compliment from the young man who said 40-year-old. Thank you. I'm hoping when I go to Vegas with my son, someone will think I'm his sister. I hope. We'll see. We'll see. He cut his hair off and now he looks kind of younger though, so who knows. I'll report back to you, of course. My machine that I connect all this to is really, really irritating me. So if any of you have a good recommendation for an affordable, I'm talking like 500 and under, little computer that I can connect lights and screen and mic and all this crap to, put in the comments for me, please, because I am now in the market. Okay. Make sure you're hitting like when you watch the videos. If you're not subscribed already, please do that. And I will see you next week.